part of sense making is really about being able to tell a story that people can relate to.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Change and the Market, your mindful guide to the ever-changing real estate world. My name is Payton Beck, and with me as always is two-time best-selling author, noted real estate luminary, and CEO of the Masiello Group, Chris Masiello. Chris, how are you today?
Hey Payton, good to be with you and good to be with everybody in our community as always.
So today we're taking a slightly different angle. We don't really have an article today. What I wanted to talk about was kind of more actually agent focused and talking about in the market right now, what should agents be doing to best be serving their clients? I think a lot of times we talk about things from a client perspective, but let's look at the agents for a second and see what the best practices are right now.
Yeah, I think it's a great topic. I'm excited about that. And I do think it's a both agent and client topic. I think it is both, but as an agent today, we're in these times of great change. So let's look at it from terms of like a macro perspective, big picture, down to micro perspective, okay, smaller picture. So at a macro sense, that would be about understanding, interest rates, what's going on in the marketplace and all that. And I think as an agent, one of the best ways that you can serve your client is to basically be that sense-making person for them. Like, how do I make sense out of this environment for me to make this like huge purchase? Now, you don't want to inundate people with information. There's a difference between being inundated and being informed. Informed is good enough. But you have to be able to explain this environment to people so that they're comfortable with it. And so what are a few things you can do? You can take a look at interest rate charts over the last 30 or 40 years. You can take a look at appreciation charts over the last 30 or 40 years. And really start to, help people understand, give them, like in a football term, right? Give them a sense of where they are on the field, at the 50-yard line, the 20-yard line. So they kind of have some understanding about that, yeah, rates have gone up. However, rates are still historically low and housing values are historically high. And that's really not going to change. And then also understanding inventory. So if you looked at longer term view of rates, inventory, sales prices, and then you're able to put together a story so that people, right? So part of sense making is really about being able to tell a story that people can relate to. Now, you and I could tell the story. However, they've got to be in your words and really relatable sense making or relatable storytelling, to an environment really has to come from the heart. It's a very hard thing to script, but once you get the information yourself, once you get the imputed information, in other words, I have the knowledge, then in a macro sense, you can help them, get an understanding of what environment that they're stepping into. In a micro sense, right, now you're talking about the local market. So I'm going to just give an example. You might say that, in the state of Maine, and I'm making all these numbers up, there's 45 days of inventory. And then, you might be in Wells, Maine. And you might say, but in the Wells market, there's only 25 days worth of inventory. So you want to be able to also talk at a micro level about the market that they're looking in, and even the price point that they're looking in. What's the average list price to sales price? So again, they can start to understand where they are when they're structuring offers and things like that. And I think, Payton, the part about that is that it requires just a little bit of time. You've got to invest that time into you being able to ingest that information, okay, let it distill, and so that you can talk about it. And now is that an hour? Is it 2 hours? On a weekly basis? Maybe it's a half hour to an hour a week. Just getting caught up on things. One of the things I use a lot is an app called Flipboard, and you can go to the App Store.
Not a sponsor.
It's free, right? Well, no, I'm not a paid sponsor. Although, I'll tell you what, it helps me quite a bit.
It does. You send me articles sometimes through there. It's a good app.
Yeah. Go to Flipboard and you can check off anything you want in there. It could be, it can be any number of things. Health, like for me, I got a health, finance and business and psychology and archaeology and all history and, meditation, all these different things that I like to follow. But, one of them is finance, and housing is one. And so you can go in there and you can just get a data feed, maybe you read it, 2 or 3 times a week, wherever the case may be. But do whatever it is, or you can go to Inman, whatever source you want. You go to the NAR site and get articles off that. But wherever it is, wherever you want to go, you take the time to self-educate.
Chris, a lot of what we've talked about, it seems like, is implied towards people who we're currently working with for transactions. How would you encourage agents use this knowledge for their list of clients? People who aren't probably looking, but we want to use it as an agent, take this opportunity to showcase our knowledge to them and also keep them informed on what's up with their house in case they do have situations coming up, grandkids, downsizing, whatever that looks like. How would you encourage they use that?
Well, one very simple thing to do, and it doesn't really matter where you are in the country. Some of, a lot of this information, I used a New England example. It could be anywhere. You could be in Portland, Oregon. It doesn't really matter. Okay, that a lot of this information about understanding the housing market, because the housing market, although there are slight differences from one region to the next, probably one of the first times in history, the housing market is kind of being painted with the same brush. Like it's the same dynamics just about everywhere. And one really simple thing you can do is just weekly find a couple articles you like, attach them to an email, send a hi to your client list, hey, just checking in with everybody. And I thought you might find these articles interesting about what's going on in housing or interest rates, or, could be home improvement, whatever the case may be. And that is a really simple way of value to stay in contact with people, and then you're coming to them as a problem solver by giving them the information. And so you're the sense maker, and you're helping them to help make sense for their environment. And I think that's just a really simple thing. It doesn't have to be long. It'll be just one paragraph, just the basics, I just checking in with everybody here, these articles that you'd find interesting as it relates to whatever the topics are. And send them out. And it really doesn't matter where you are in the country. That works. It's going to work no matter what. I
actually think that could give me an idea of something that I think would really, if my agent did this for me, it would really set them above and beyond. Though she's great. If she's watching, she's not. She's great. But the idea of having just, you talked about a lot of this, it comes from a narrative and comes from your personal testimony to what's happening, if you will, in the market. Doing a little selfie video, kind of like what we're doing now, but just
sure. Absolutely.
Where the articles are, attach that to the blogs or whatever else and send those out.
Even better.
Yeah, and even more so. They would be so cool. A lot of our agents here have access to home valuation tools. Share, if you want to make it really personal, share with them like, hey, just so you're up to date on what your house is kind of looking like, here's some estimated home values of what you have. Isn't that great?
Very powerful.
Stuff like that would be crazy. Also, my agent does do a pie drive every year where she gives out free pies around Thanksgiving. That's the best.
It's hard to find somebody who doesn't like getting pie,
Exactly.
That's certainly more exciting than getting an article about interest rates. Right?
Well, and it's a full pie. Didn't expect that. It's not a piece. It's like full. Anyway.
Yeah. You're right, though. I think it has to be, finding ways to articulate things that really come from your heart, right? Like this is, it's a little bit like explaining things to your kids, right? I mean, the story of your grandfather or whatever the case may be, or the story you had growing up. Those are kind of visceral stories, and they come from deep inside of you. And although this isn't as important as family matters, when it's your voice, it matters more.
Yeah.
And I think that's the benefit of self-educating yourself so that you can just fluently talk about it.
Perfect. Well, Chris, thank you so much for all of that. I think we had some really awesome discussion.
That was fun.
Yeah, it's always fun just to this was a very jazz episode. We just kind of went for it, I think. But yeah, that is going to do it for us on today's episode of Change and the Market. If you've liked what you've seen, feel free to comment and share this video. Take some of this advice if you'd like. and let us know how it went. But other than that, Chris, thank you so much for being here, and that'll do it for us.
Yeah, good to be with you, Payton. Everybody have a great week. Thanks.
My name is Payton Beck. With me, as always, is author, media luminary. Media luminary? That's not what it is. Let me try again. Sorry.